I'm Ashley.
And I'm Jessica.
And this is
Seriez Sisterz.
Got it. It's the cat again.
Darren, he's always so excited for us.
I know. He just wants to be included. Anytime you eat, he has to be included in the food. He doesn't want to eat it necessarily unless it's boiled chicken. He will fuck you up for some chicken. Otherwise, he just wants to smell it. See what you're doing. See what you're working with.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. How's your day? Week?
You know, it's been one of those weeks where I kept thinking it was the day ahead of time.
Oh, that's so sad.
It is.
It is. You still got one day to go.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's been an okay week.
Good.
And yours?
It's been okay. It's been okay. Just we got those health things. So I have to get that heart cath.
Yeah. You talked to a doctor this week.
I talked to a doctor this week. We're going to do that just to rule out anything, even though nothing really came of any of the other tests. He also told me that antihistamines can cause heart palpitations.
I knew that.
I did not know that.
But I've been taking those like my entire life.
Oh, I just started taking like the last couple years. I've been taking one every day. And then Josh has to have a scope down his esophagus on the 14th. So
guys,
we need to quit getting old.
So old and crazy.
I know.
I don't get my issue fixed till July.
Did you figure out what it is,
well,
though?
Not exactly, but they think, the dentist thinks it's a specific, like my very, very, very back tooth.
Okay, like wisdom-y or next to the wisdom?
Yeah, I've already got wisdom teeth out. So, but he said, I'm pretty sure it's this one because of something. He did like a filling or something, and he said it wasn't going to hold. I don't know. It won't hold. So, yeah, he said we'll have to do a root canal, which I'm used to those.
Really?
But he said I have a lot of bone loss.
How the fuck does that happen?
Being a smoker.
Oh.
Don't smoke, guys.
Smoking's
cigarettes.
Smoking's very bad for you, okay?
And then so there's a lot of inflammation and nerve stuff going on.
Showing, yeah.
Anyways,
health.
But,
for all the millennials that watch, you get it. You get it.
So you started the second
I did.
book.
I started
in the series.
listening. And listening to books is just a recent thing that I've gotten into because usually I don't like it. I don't like people's voices. They're too moist and it pisses me off. But the last ones I've listened to haven't bothered me. They've been great. Especially, what's her name? Hold on, I'll get there. No, I won't.
What book?
Bonnie Turpin.
Oh, yeah.
She's glorious. Anything.
She did these, right?
She did,
the Children of
Blood and Bone. Yep. And she did the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, which I listened to, and it was phenomenal. But my issue that I'm having with this particular voice actress, I didn't look up her name, but the one that does, I'm guessing the first one as well.
Okay. Probably.
But at least the second.
Usually.
I know that the rule in public speaking or reading aloud is you need to read slower because other people, it's harder for them to understand you when you're talking at a fast pace.
Okay.
However, this woman reads so obnoxiously slow that I want to pull my hair out. And normally I'm not one to like speed it up. I know a lot of people. I was
going to say, I think you can speed it up a little.
You can. And a lot of people are like, yeah, listen on 2 times speed. I can't do that. That's too much stimulation.
Fast.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
But I might, because this is no exaggeration. I'm going to read some boxes we have sitting over there. Great American quality steaks. Premium quality beef.
I don't like that.
No, Jesus Christ. Let's fucking go. Jesus. Anyway, it's really making me angry. Also, something that makes me so mad because I spent a lot of time going through those GD names and making sure that I had said them right. And this bitch calls him Hoth. She calls him Hoth. I'm not changing it. We're still doing Hote. I'm just saying. She calls him Hoth, and I'm upset about it. And I need to. Rachel,
I was going to say,
Miss Gillig.
Can we ask the author how she wants it
How do you want us
pronounced?
to say this? Is it Hoth, like the cold planet on Star Wars? Or is it Hote or Hout? Or what the fuck is this name? That's my question.
I'm going to say it's hot.
Okay. I'm not calling him hot.
But
You,
could
it's
be.
hot Rowan coming at you. Yeah, I'm not doing it.
Okay, fine.
So that's.
But yeah, that would annoy me.
So I might have to speed this bitch up.
You might have to.
And her voices aren't. I hope it's not Rachel herself, because I feel like it has.
Oh, I don't know. I guess I was gonna act like I knew. What?
In which case, there's our answer. It's Hoth. I forgot what I was gonna say.
We're gonna speed it up.
Yeah, I guess that's it. I don't know. It's gone. Yes, the voices. The voices she does.
The voices.
Like, because when she does the nightmare voice, it's supposed to be like kind of creepy, but she's like, Elspeth Spindle. And it's like, are you on slow motion right now?
Why is she reading so slow?
I don't know.
Huh.
Anyway.
Yeah, I prefer them not read slow.
Yeah, I mean,
read a little
slower than like, because I know I read fast, especially when I get excited or something like JoJo, the Idiot Circus Boy.
Pretty new pet.
When I get excited or something intense is happening, I'll tend to read a little faster and I have to consciously stop and slow down. But, whew.
Huh. I'm trying to think if I noticed also the age, but this isn't really, it's not like
Teens. Yeah, it's a little.
This is pretty complex.
Pretty dark, yeah.
Because sometimes with the teen books, they do read a little slower.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Different audience.
But I don't know. Huh. Okay.
So, that being said, what you remember?
Yet. Okay. Whew, give me 1 second.
Yep.
I
don't even remember what happened because all I know is
some of our pauses here. Okay. Elspeth. She agreed to help the group that are trying to get all the cards, the deck of cards, which consists of the Yui family and Elm, Rowan, and then the cousin of the Willow guy.
Yep.
They want to get rid of the mist, and they want to use the bad Willow or Eith Willow's blood. The king wants to get rid of the mist, so he's also searching for the cards. But he wants to use Emery's blood. So that's a thing. So Elspeth's going to help them. She goes to live with them under the ruse that... Hold on. I don't know why I want to call him Sky. Sky's going to court her. Did we just talk about a Sky?
But I think you're thinking you just got Sky Corrigan in the brain all the time. His name's Raven.
Raven, thank you. Raven's going to court her. So that's happening. And then Ione's engaged to Hote, Prince Hauth. It doesn't feel right. Hauth is not a name, is it?
It's a place in my head.
That's made up too.
I know, but that's all I know.
Also, I don't remember if they got... Oh, so Raven has magic too. He can't use most of the cards.
Correct.
And then the card they just got off of a family, or they were trying to... I can't remember which card
it is. Iron Gate. They just learned
where it is.
Yeah, because they had tea with the sisters.
Yes. And Elspeth...
Scary.
told them about the well card because her dad has it.
Yep.
And that's where we left off.
Yes.
Is that it?
Pretty much. I mean, nothing. We're about to get into the shit now.
Okay. I'm trying to think because I felt like I had a question before we get started, but what does the well card do? Your cup overfloweth.
No, let's see. The chalice makes you, it's like a truth serum. The well card, I think you can look in it and see your enemies or some bullshit.
Like what they're doing?
I don't know.
The squeaky bra.
My other bra broke, so I have to wear this one. It just went and snapped. The well card allows their user to identify their enemies by granting clear sight to recognize threats, often revealing them through dark auras and water-based reflections. So kind of like a looking glass, if you will.
You tap your card. And then you look in the pond and you can see your enemy.
I don't know if you have to look in water. I don't know if the card itself shimmers like water. It wasn't clear.
Okay. Clear. Water.
Okay.
Ready.
So, Jesper had left to go back to Stone to tell Elm and Raven so they would come back to Castle U. Okay. So Raven made it back the next morning.
Okay.
Elspeth didn't want to be bothered, so she took to wandering outside. She found some flowers and weaved them into a crown, and that's where Raven found her. Oh, and they also went to that stone chamber. Didn't they? Or is that where they're about to go now? But they didn't go in it. He showed her the ruins, didn't he? Okay, he's about to. About to show her the ruins.
No, you dumb bitch.
No, he didn't yet. Okay, he's about to.
Okay.
I've read this like 4 times now, so that's all that's in my brain. Okay, so that's where Raven found her. He asks if she's well, and she asks how he knew she was there. And Raven says, "You weren't in your room. If I was trying to avoid someone, this is where I would go." And now he asks her, "I could have just waited. Would you like a tour?" Elspeth makes sure her charm was in her pocket, and Raven tells her that she doesn't actually need the charm, and she has never needed one. He says, "You and I already carry strange magic. We're the very thing the book warns against, Miss Spindle. We needn't be afraid of a little salt in the air." The two of them walked through the plants and flowers until they came to a path almost hidden. The path led to the ruins, the original castle of the Shepherd King.
Oh.
Or what was left of it.
Mm-hmm.
Raven says, "It's old, older than stone. No one knows exactly when it was forged. It's older than the stone castle."
Oh.
Remember?
Oh. I'm like, but it's
really
made
is
out
it
of the stone, but it's older than it. Okay.
No one knows when it was forged or when fire felled it. Only one room remains. The nightmare's tale whips through Elspeth's mind. "Go in," he said. Elspeth tells him that there's no door. He tells her to use the window. He says that's all she ever required, the spirit of the wood. When Elspeth asks the nightmare about him being there before, he just laughs. Elspeth and Raven talk of the cards. She asks, since he uses the nightmare card often, if he's noticed any bad side effects. Has he seen a creature? Raven tells her that he hasn't seen one, but he hears it in his head. He says, most of the time he doesn't say anything, but when he does, it's like he knows everything I've ever thought, ever feared. He taunts me, telling me I'm going to fail, that my efforts are meaningless, but it's just a voice, not a creature at all. Because when he speaks, it's not a stranger's voice, it's mine.
Interesting. So it's not the same nightmare guy.
Correct.
But does that happen to everyone that uses that card often?
I
Like
think
they
so.
start
That's
to get their own nightmare voice
Yes.
in there? Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds like a problem.
Yeah, it's not great. Everything comes with a price. Raven had only returned to Castle U to retrieve Elspeth so that they may steal the Iron Gate card. Raven and Elm mapped out Wayland Pine's travel arrangements. They would intercept Pine's carriage on the forest road. If they departed the castle just after midday, they would have enough time to get to the Black Forest by nightfall. There at the edge of the road, they would wait. Raven asks,
are they going to be the Hellscape boys?
They are! They're going to Hellscape it.
Goodness.
Raven asks Elspeth if she's ever used a blade before. She wonders if garden shears count, and they do not. They enter the armory, and in it stood Jesper, Elm, John Thistle, the steward, or Stewart, and two others Elspeth didn't know. Their names are Wick and Peter Ivy. I have not encountered them again, so you don't need to remember their names.
Okay.
Raven laughs at her silence and says, "Come now, Miss Spindle. Surely you've seen a party of highwaymen before." They made Elspeth change out of her dress and into a gray tunic and leggings. She thought she looked ridiculous. Once she'd changed, Raven handed her a pair of riding gloves. Jesper says the plan. We get to the Black Forest on horseback. The rest of the way we travel on foot, out of sight in the mist. When Pine's carriage passes, we halt it. You tell us where to find his iron gate, and we're in and out in less than 5 minutes. Elm says to Elspeth, and then we'll come back and you can tell us all about the well card in your father's house. Everyone was surprised to learn that Elspeth had never ridden a horse before. She tells them that animals didn't like her much. Raven tries to calm her nerves and the horses, but the horse is still skittish. Raven lifts Elspeth up onto it, saying it was just nervous because she was. But Elm adds, or because she doesn't know what you are. Inside Elspeth's mind, the nightmare says, "Trust me, she knows exactly what you are. Watch this." He hissed, an invisible animal noise calling to the horse beneath. The mare reared and ran from the stable, knocking Elspeth off in the process.
What? Why is he doing all that?
I know, because he's a big jerk. Raven is checking her over while she scolds the nightmare for almost killing her. Raven says, "I'm sorry, Miss Spindle. We've no choice but to go on horseback. Your best option is to ride with our most skilled horseman so that he might thwart any of the animal's unease." You think
it's him, isn't it? Oh.
It's Elm.
Oh.
And she wasn't happy.
Yeah.
When they arrive at their destination, they dismount, and Elm makes a rude comment about Elspeth gripping so tight it was like he was wearing a corset. Raven tells them all to get their charms. Stay quiet. As they're walking, Elspeth asks Raven if he thinks...
They sound like really tough.
I know. They're
Get
badass.
your charms, guys.
Get your charms so you can stay safe in the mist.
The mist.
Elspeth asks Raven if he thinks the spirit of the wood will remain in Blunder once they unite the deck. Raven says, "The old book says magic sways like salt water on a tide. I believe the spirit is the moon, commanding the tide. She pulls us in, but also sets us free. So no, I don't think the spirit of the wood will disappear with the mist, but perhaps she will no longer be a danger. Perhaps she will rest." The nightmare has a different thought, saying, "But the spirit was neglected no matter her plea. The Rowans erased her as they once did to me. But she keeps her own time, and I keep a long score. The tide that comes next will blot out the shore."
Who said that?
The nightmare.
Okay, good.
Raven all of a sudden gets riddly.
He's rhyming.
What does he say on, is it 300? He says they'll block out the sky with arrows or something. And hot Michael Fassbender says, "Then we shall fight in the shade."
That's Michael Fassbender. Oh my gosh, it is.
Yeah, it is.
Wow. Forgot about that.
Well,
dude, Gerard
man.
Butler.
Woo!
I can't.
Yeah.
I've never been so attracted to an actor all of a sudden.
Really?
Before. Not like that.
Well, join the club. The nightmare says that stuff.
Okay.
And then a few moments later, Raven stops. He could see the road 20 paces beyond. Raven offers Elspeth a small blade. Hers was a poor disguise without a weapon. But then it says that an hour later, do they just wait there? Maybe they just wait there.
They probably have to wait till he passes by.
Yeah. Okay.
They don't have his location.
Well, the leader of the harem of the court of King Caractacus was just passing by altogether now. An hour later, Raven pulls out a cloth and secures it to his face, handing Elspeth one of her own, a mask.
Okay.
Handing Elspeth one of her own.
Safety pins it on his cheek.
When Elspeth saw it, she has some PTSD about when they caught her earlier, and she freaks out. Raven understands, and he tries to apologize, saying, "I came back to the road alone the next night. I kept to the forest for 3 days, hoping to catch a glimpse of you, to speak to you if I could. The prophet card leaves holes in our understanding. Yes, my mother predicted you'd be where you'd be. your connection to the cards, but the rest was conjecture. We had no idea what we were stepping into. Had I known you carried magic. There are so few of us, Miss Spindle. You are more special than you know, and it pains me to think I might have hurt you.
Why is he being sweet all of a sudden?
I know.
That's weird.
He's just,
But
he's getting used to her.
Okay.
Elspeth tells him that he's forgiven on one condition. He has to call her Elspeth. After all, they were about to commit treason together. Mm-hmm. The signal came. The noise of approaching horsemen rumbling in the distance.
Why is that blue on blue?
That's the signal. Oh, shit. So the approaching horsemen were coming, and Raven says, "Best put that mask on, Elspeth. It's time.
It's time.
It is time. Rafiki."
Yeah.
Cool. It only took a moment for Elspeth to realize something was wrong. She heard the horses and saw the iron gate card, but before she could point it out to Raven, more lights came into view. 4 black horses and 1 brilliant red scythe. Hote Rowan. Elspeth tells Raven,
"Go ahead.
He's not supposed to be there. It's just supposed to be Wayland, Pine, and
So, okay, so Pine is there.
Pine is there. There's just more people
there is
than
the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
And the other guy's brake pads.
Yep.
Okay.
Elspeth tells Raven what she can see, and she's surprised when he still gears up for the attack. Raven says, "There's also destriers," and says, "We'll handle the destriers. If we rush Hote, he won't have enough focus to wield the scythe. The quicker we retrieve the iron gate, the quicker we will be free of danger. Do you still wish to help us, Elspeth?" Elspeth sighs and finally tells him that the iron gate is in the first carriage. Raven reaches into his pocket and pulls out the mirror card. He taps it 3 times, disappearing. He says, "You and I will go last. Lead me to the iron gate. Once we're close, run back here and hide in the mist. Understand?" There was no time to answer.
But
yes.
I didn't think any of the cards even work on, except for the mirror. But if the destriers have the black horses or the scythe or whatever, they don't work on Raven.
Correct.
So why is he even being invisible about it?
So they don't.
Still try and fight him?
Less chance of him being recognized and being attacked.
Okay.
There was no time to answer. Arrows shot by Elm and Jesper caused the caravan to come to a halt. The destriers shout that they're being attacked. Swords clashed, and Raven pulls Elspeth through the struggle. The green light from the card was no longer in the first carriage. It had moved onto the road. In Wayland Pine's cloak pocket. Elspeth shouts to Raven, telling him where it is. Raven squeezes her hand and tells her to go. She takes off running and slams right into her father.
Why?
Because he was part of the caravan that was coming through. There was more people than they thought there'd be.
But she didn't see the well card?
No, he must not have it with him.
Oh.
He was locked in a battle, her father. He was locked in a battle with Elm and gave Elspeth little notice, just elbowing her in the face. The nightmare is urging her to keep going, but she's watching the fight between her father and Elm. Prince Elm is struggling, and she doesn't want to just leave him to be killed. So she picks up a rock and throws it, hitting her father in the back of the head. Elm got to his feet and ran off while her father rounded on her. Eric Spindle pulled out a dagger, preparing to throw it at her. She knew he would not miss, so Elspeth invites the nightmare in. The dagger was thrown, and the nightmare caught it in his fist. Boom!
Dang.
Nightmare Elspeth rushes up and kicks her father in the stomach, knocking him off his feet. She stands over him and says, "Be wary the blue, be wary the stone, be wary of shadows the water hath shown. Your enemies wait, the wolves stalk the gate, be wary the shadows the water hath shown." Before Eric Spindle could say anything back, a horse ran by. Jesus Christ.
Hey guys.
Hey! A spooked horse, so it's running, and it knocked Elspeth to the ground. Then there were hands helping her up, and it was Jesper. The 2 of them run into the mist as fast as they can. A destrier came out of nowhere, and he and Jesper squared off. Jesper managed to hit him upside the head with her sword and knocked him unconscious. Elspeth asks Jesper where the others are, but she doesn't know. She got turned around. Jesper pats her pocket and says, "Shit, her charm was missing. She must have dropped it somewhere." Without warning, Jesper cannot see. The mist was taking its toll without her charm. Elspeth tries to get her out, but she pushes back. It's too dangerous out of the mist. Elspeth tried to argue, but it was too late. Jesper was lost in her mind. An animal screamed.
If she leaves the mist, can she come back to herself? Okay.
An animal screamed, and the nightmare laughed. The animal screamed again, and this time Elspeth realized it wasn't an animal at all. It was Jesper. Elspeth finally got through to her, asking if her... This part confuses me. She tries to get through to her to ask if Raven has a charm. But doesn't she have a charm? Couldn't she have just put the charm in her hand?
She didn't bring it.
Elspeth always has her charm on her.
She said she didn't need it, so she wasn't bringing it.
That's not what she said. That never happened.
I remember when she said that.
No.
Yes, they were talking about charms.
And he said she didn't need it when they went out there, but that doesn't mean she didn't grab it the next day.
Oh. Well, I guess she didn't bring it. She's wearing a foreign outfit.
That's true. Okay, so a foreign outfit. Elspeth finally got through to her, asking if her brother had a charm. And Jesper says, "Raven, charm, hurry."
Aww.
Elspeth runs through the wood, but then she hears footsteps coming in her direction. Destriers. Where Elspeth was hiding, they couldn't see her, but if she wasn't quiet, they'd be able to hear her. One of the group was Hote, and he looked toward her hiding place, asking, "Who's there?" And then he was gone with the rest of the group. Elspeth took a breath and comes out, but before she can take a
He
step...
didn't wait for an answer.
He came back, okay? He knew someone was there, so he made it seem like he left, and he doubled back around.
Okay.
Who's there? Don't care.
See ya.
He came back before she could take another step. He twisted her arm until it snapped.
Oh.
Asking, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" The nightmare roared in her head. He flooded her mind with a sudden vicious fury. Hote, I forgot his name. Hote asked the questions again, but she didn't have a chance to answer. She struck at the high prince. The sound of ripping fabric caught the air. Elspeth's hand was slick with blood, but it was not hers. She took off running while a bloodied Hote called after her. Elspeth slows down and asks the nightmare what he'd done. His voice said, "The berry of Rowan's is red, always red. The earth at its..." She forgot his words. Line. The earth at its trunk is dark with bloodshed, but a prince is a man, and a man may be bled. He came for a girl and got the monster instead.
Oh my gosh, he's so good at rhyming.
I know. I bet he practices. He's got nothing else to do. Lost now, Elspeth wanders, her broken wrist throbbing. Weeds caught her legs and she went down. Again, she heard footsteps. Only this time, she saw the colors of burgundy, violet, and mossy green. Raven, with his nightmare mirror and the iron gate. He sees Elspeth, and she tells him that Hote was right behind her and that she thinks he broke her wrist. Raven tries to look at it, but Elspeth tells him there's no time and explains about Jesper. No time. Jesper hadn't gotten far. Raven kneels over his sister and places his charm in her rigid fingers, whispering something Elspeth could not hear. After a time, life re-entered Jesper's eyes. She winces and asks what happened. Then behind them came the rest of the group, the good guy, the Hellscape boys. Everyone talking at once about what happened. Who was hurt? Was anyone recognized? Elm tells Raven that he better have gotten the card. Obviously, he had. And everyone took turns passing it around and looking at it. Oh, look at that.
That's the real thing.
We got
what does it do? It locks gates?
I don't know what the iron gate does.
Okay. Sorry. I'm just curious.
You're a curious lad. We're in a severe thunderstorm warning, guys.
Are we still in a tornado warning watch?
I thought we were in one until 9. Oh.
What does it do?
It provides the user blissful serenity and emotional numbness against life's struggles. But what you get back is it steals years from the holder's life, creating a misty escape from pain What? That prevents true healing. I don't know why they said misty escape from pain. So it makes you numb to your shit, but you don't address it, and so you die earlier.
Okay.
Anyway, that's what it does.
I think that's cool.
Is there more to that?
I was wondering, I was like, would I use that often? But probably not. But if I was like just having a real bad day.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like I need something to take the
need
edge
this.
off. Tip, tip, tip.
Tip, tip, tip. Go on.
Trying to find. Here we go. Finally, Elm looks at Elspeth and says, "Did he recognize you?"
Dang.
Raven's confused, and Elm explains that Eric had been there and that Elspeth had fought him off. Elspeth says no, he did not recognize her. Elm is hesitant to believe her, saying, "Are you sure? Because if he did,
I swear to
God." Elm trails off and asks, "Who did that to your wrist?" Raven says, "Hote." Then to Elspeth, he says, "You never said how you got away from him." Elspeth stiffens and the nightmare laughs again. When she spoke, her voice was low, and she said, "Perhaps it was he who got away from me."
Don't.
On the ride back to U Castle, Raven rode with Elspeth instead of making her ride with Elm. While they rode, Raven tells her that she'd frightened him earlier when she was running through the woods. He says,
You scared me,
"You
Elspeth."
spooked me. Sometimes your eyes flash a strange yellow color. I feel a stillness about you I do not recognize. A darkness."
Oh.
When Elspeth doesn't respond, he continues, "The truth is, there's darkness in all of us. We don't need the old book to tell us that. You and I carry the infection, and with it, strange, brilliant magic. But there's always a price. It comes for free." They stayed silent the rest of the ride, Elspeth eventually falling asleep until the familiar clack of cobblestones woke her.
It's a nice sound.
It's such a good sound. God, I love that sound. Raven lowers her from the horse and asks her if she still wants to pretend.
Oh.
He says, "Of all the things I pretend at, courting you has proven the easiest." He also tells
He's like a totally different guy now.
He was working up to this.
Okay.
He also tells her to call him Raven if they want to be convincing. And Elspeth says, "Good night, Raven." And he takes that as her answer.
Love.
Elspeth has another dream. Dream. I hit my face on the mic.
I saw it.
Ruthin. Okay, so she's in the dream. She stood.
Okay, sorry. Eyelash in my eye. Okay.
I got one eyelash in my eye. The others are where they're supposed to be. Okay. I'm sorry. I was trying to find the place at the same time. So, she's in the dream. She stood in the same ancient room covered in vines, only this time it was autumn. Seated upon the dark stone in the middle of the room, rested the same knight she'd seen in her previous dream.
In the golden armor?
Correct.
Ray Finkel.
Yes.
Okay.
Who the hell is that? He was deep in thought, and she stood there, waiting for him to notice her. When he finally saw her, his gaze widened, and he said, "Elspeth Spindle, let me out." And then the room burst into flames. Elspeth woke, gasping for air. She was alone in her room, her wrist in so much pain it took her 10 minutes to take off yesterday's clothes. She walked over to the water basin and looked in the mirror and held back a scream. A creature, neither man nor animal, stared back at her, his yellow eyes wide.
From the mirror?
Elspeth blinked, and when she looked again, it was gone, and she was herself again.
Hold on. Did she touch the well card?
No.
Okay.
She ain't touched no fucking cards. Her aunt had always told her, not always, but she told her
She's
once,
always telling me
that Elspeth's charcoal eyes were special, a window to the soul beneath. But looking in the mirror at those yellow eyes, she had to wonder, whose soul was it, the nightmare's or hers? Elspeth went down the stairs and ran into Raven, who checked on her wound. A piece of hair fell into his face, and she wanted to pull it hard. I'm just kidding. I wrote that. because I wanted to see what her face would do.
Like, this is getting weird.
Push it. No, she wanted to push it back.
Oh, yeah, that's so
But
sweet.
Moret interrupted them. They had a visitor.
Who?
Moret, his
Oh.
mother. They had a visitor. It was Ione, who was on her way to her home. Her beautiful self sat there talking away as if nothing had happened between them. Ione notices Elspeth's wrist and asks what happened. Elspeth tells her that she fell off a horse. Ione says, "Of course you did. I hope they haven't been overexerting you. Men of Blunder can be so obtuse when it comes to women." Raven comes over and says, "You would know better than most, Miss Hawthorne. My cousin Hote is a renowned brute after all." Elm walks into the room and asks Ione why she was there. Ione says, "I came to speak with your brother. As I understand, the Destriers came to train today." That's right.
What?
I'm almost to the point where I'll explain more. Elspeth is surprised because she thought Ione had come to see her.
Mm-hmm.
And Ione tells her, "2 birds, 1 stone. Besides, I haven't been to Castle U since I was a girl, back when I was certain it was haunted."
Mm.
Ione and Elspeth go for a walk. Ione says that Hote was furious when the highwayman got away. He was injured quite grotesquely. Elspeth looked over at Hote with the destriers. 4 lines of scabbing red flesh trailed down his neck, disappearing just below the collar of his tunic. It looked as if a giant cat had swiped at him. Elspeth is surprised at what it looks like and asks the nightmare, "Did I really do that?" The nightmare answers, "If you have to ask, you're not ready to know." Elspeth and Ione walk over to Raven and the rest of the destriers. Raven, pretending, says aloud that he had called the destriers there because it seems 4 of my men, including the High Prince, defied my orders and instead of returning to town, prolonged their stay at Stone. They were ambushed in the Black Forest. So, he's pretending like that's why he called all of them there.
Raven is?
Yeah, because he's the captain.
Yeah.
So he's mad that they defied his orders and didn't return to Stone right away and instead stayed, or they prolonged their stay there. Instead, were part of the caravan.
Where did they prolong their stay?
At the equinox celebration. They prolonged it
I thought that was at Stone.
I know, I messed up my words. They prolonged their stay at Stone instead of coming straight there.
Where were they supposed to go?
I believe Castle U. I don't know where the fuck. Listen.
Spindle House? No.
No.
They were supposed to be at Stone because they're the Destriers.
Yes. But sometimes they also train at Castle U.
Okay.
Because the captain lives there. I mean, usually he's there with the king because that's where the king needs them.
Yes.
But sometimes they also train at Castle U. And he called them all there instead of, because they didn't go back to their homes, I guess. He told them to go back. His orders were to go back home. But they stayed at Stone for too long, and therefore they were in the caravan and they got ambushed. So he's pretending like he's mad that they defied his orders, and because they defied his orders is why they were ambushed, kind of thing.
I get that part. Just the locations of where people are supposed to be is a little...
Hold on. Let me see.
It's okay.
I know. Instead of returning to town, prolonged their stay at Stone.
So do they like stay in town?
Maybe. I didn't elaborate.
Okay. So they were supposed to be somewhere and they weren't. Stay too long.
Yeah. Hote wanders over and tells them about the ambush. Elm makes fun of his brother for not being able to fight them off. He asks if Hote got a good look at who hurt him. He says no, but that he broke their wrist. Raven says that it's time to begin their training. He says to Hote, "How about you and I demonstrate how best to thwart a highwayman, cousin? Unless you're worried I'll mark up more of that pretty face." Hote says that another destrier, Lyndon, would take his place. But Lyndon is a dick and doesn't want to spar with anyone who is infected. So finally, Hote agrees. He taps his black horse 3 times and they begin. Raven offers advice to the group while they spar. Focus on his hands. A highwayman may have a knife at your throat with one hand, but you can be sure he's picking your pocket with the other. Oh, I should have saved that song.
Yeah.
Raven is obviously winning the fight. He lands a slap across Hote's face, splitting one of his scabs. Elspeth is confused about Hote using his black horse. Doesn't it not work on Raven? Elm tells her that it may not work on Raven, but it can still affect Hote's speed.
Making him a better fighter, even
Yes.
though it's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Hote keeps trying, and Raven keeps winning.
Does Hote know about Raven's magic?
Yes.
Okay.
He says, Raven says, you broke a wrist. You should at least be able to make me bleed. Next to Elspeth, neither Ione nor Elm bothered to hide their smiles as they watched Hote get his ass handed to him. Hote throws his dagger,
Ione smiled? Oh.
Hote throws his dagger, barely missing Raven's collar. Raven pivoted, kicking Hote in the ribs and knocking him in the dirt. Then Raven stomped full force on the High Prince's hand. A snap, and Hote's screams filled the yard. It took 3 Destures to pull Raven off. Training concluded, Raven said. After everyone walked away, Elspeth asks Elm, what the hell was that? And Elm says, Hote broke your wrist. Raven mangled his hand. Balance.
I was wondering if that's why he was so pissy.
Later, as Elspeth was headed to her rooms, she overheard voices. One of the voices said her name, so she decided to eavesdrop. It was Raven and Elm. Elm still does not trust her. There has to be more to her magic. Maybe Raven should use the nightmare card on her. Raven is adamant that he will not do that. He uses it only on his family because they've consented. Elm tells Raven that as enjoyable as it was to see, breaking Hote's hand was reckless. Elm says, you shouldn't let your guard down, Raven, especially not for her. Raven bids his cousin goodnight, and Elspeth rushes to her room quickly so she wouldn't be caught listening. She'd hardly stepped into her room and shut the door when someone knocked. It was Raven. Raven tells her that the breaking of Hote's hand wasn't completely about her. He says, Hote hates the infection more than most, and he hates that his father made me captain. He's the one who told the king about my infection. 10 years later, he did the same when Emery caught the fever. But that wasn't why Raven came to see her. He wanted to show her something, not his penis. I wrote that. Not his penis.
Capital N-O-T.
They took the servants' passage. The ruins of the ancient castle looked even stranger at night. At the edge of a cemetery stood the stone chamber. Again, the nightmare urges her to go inside. Luckily, that's just where they were headed. Raven and Elspeth climbed through the window. Now that Elspeth was inside the room, she was able to look around, and she recognized it. The ivy-laden walls, the fractured ceiling, the stone in the center of the room. In her head, she gasps and says, this is the place. This is the time. Who was the man seated atop the stone? The nightmare answers, a place of time, a man of fault, both fueled by rage, both buried in salt. That was helpful.
Thank you, sir.
Raven and Elspeth approach the stone. Raven tells her
I'd get so mad if he just kept talking in rhymes. I'm like, I asked a fucking question.
Answer me. Yeah, I'd be annoyed as hell. Raven tells her that he used to play there as a boy. Elspeth asks why they're there, and Raven shows her. He pulls out a small dagger and slashes his palm. He turns his palm onto the stone. Then, out of the depths of the stone, emerge several unmistakable beams of light. Providence cards, hidden in the depths of the ancient stone, unlocked by blood. Raven's blood. Infected blood. Magical blood.
Is that where they're keeping all the cards? Okay. I'm like, what are all these cards doing in here, guys?
Yeah. Raven pulls out the cards and Elspeth realizes that's the...
Hey. All right. And we're back.
Had a tornado scare.
Yep. Sirens went off.
Woot woot. For too long. Okay.
We're back.
So Raven pulls out the cards and Elspeth realizes that this is where they kept their collection of the ones that they have. Elspeth asks how he even found that hiding place. And Raven tells her that as a boy, he'd cut his shoulder and accidentally rubbed up against the stone.
Like a bear.
Hey. The bare necessities. Inside of the stone that time as a child had been his nightmare card and the mirror card. The ones he has now.
Hold on. He found them there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's not like he had already... Those were already his.
No,
he found those
he
there.
had found them, yeah.
Okay.
Elspeth nudges the nightmare in her head, wanting more information on why those cards had been there. And the nightmare says, an offering bartered with blood. That's how the spirit bargains, always with blood. So the shepherd king built her this chamber at the edge of the woods, this altar, and here they bartered. Okay. Elspeth asks how he knows so much about it, but the nightmare stays silent. Raven wipes the blood from his palm and explains to Elspeth that should something happen to him, she would be the only one able to open it. Elspeth watches the color leach away as he held the cards. She asks again why he could only use the nightmare in the mirror. Raven says, I was 13, older than most, when I caught the fever, but I saw no sign of magic, no new abilities. I avoided physicians. I thought I had escaped the consequences of the infection. A year later, I was training to be a destrier, but when I was offered a black horse, the card would not work. Hote told Orith Willow, who cut me with his claw and confirmed my infection to the king.
The claw's gonna
but one
get you.
claw, but beware. Yes.
What does his claw look like?
It explains it later.
Okay.
It's a metal contraption that's on his hand.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if he kept like one nail long, like his pinky nail.
Whoa, like a drug addict. No, I think it reminds me of Anakin's robot arm, but like on top of his regular arm, like an exoskeleton situation. Okay. But like his pet Orith, the king saw value in my infection. Without the black horse, I became a better fighter than the other destriers. The chalice did not work for me, but neither did it work against me. No one could see me in the well. The scythe cannot control me. That is why he made me captain. And every year I lose the ability to use another card. Magic comes at a cost. If we do not collect the deck and heal my infection, I will not be able to use cards at all. Raven says that he rarely talks about it, except to Elm. Yeah, big whoop.
I go
Who gives a
every
shit?
day not being able to use these cards.
I know. Back in my day, we didn't even fucking have cards.
Oh, man.
So he rarely talks about it except to Elm. Elspeth wonders if that's a good idea. Elm is, after all, a Rowan. Raven tells her that he's loyal. He says, Elm was a clever child, but he hated training, preferring his books. When the king took displeasure in his mildness, no, not when, the king took displeasure in his mildness and thought him weak, leaving his upbringing to the queen. When she died, Elm was mistreated. Hote brutalized him. So one day, I just brought him home. My parents became his parents, my siblings his siblings. He's wary, untrusting, but he'd die before he betrayed us. Before he'd betray us. Raven went to cut his palm again to put the cards back, but Elspeth stopped him. She wanted to do it. He reluctantly agrees, telling her it doesn't take much blood, just a small amount, an offering. Raven is all sweet, cutting her as gently as he can.
Oh, she can't cut herself.
No, and then he puts his little fingies in there to stop the bleeding.
Oh,
I know.
Puts it in the wound.
And I mean, it's not gaping. He just presses it on the cut on the skin. And they're all close together. They're all close, and his hair does the thing, and she can finally push it back. And then they kiss.
It's the kiss.
It's the kiss.
Wait. Because your kiss, 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 kiss. Okay.
Nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, they're getting real into this kiss. This kiss! And Elspeth opens her eyes a sliver.
Oh.
I don't know why. She's like, I'm bored. I'm going to open them. No, I'm just kidding. And something over Raven's shoulder catches her gaze. Perched atop the stone was the man from her dreams, golden armor and all. And the man spoke. Elspeth Spindle, let me out. Elspeth freaks out, breaks the kiss, saying that she needs to go, and she runs away. Raven calls after her, but she doesn't respond or stop. Elspeth is scared that
Was he really there?
No, it was like a memory.
Oh.
Elspeth is scared that she's losing her mind. She hollers at the nightmare, tell me the truth. Who is that man? Why do I keep seeing him?
It's the nightmare.
That's pretty obvious,
Yeah.
right? That's something that kind of bothers me.
Okay.
Like, this is like this big twist, but it's like you told us that in multiple ways
Yeah.
already through the story.
Yeah.
Anyway, the nightmare finally tells her he is a vestige of the past, haunting the chamber he built for the spirit of the wood.
Were they
Nothing,
in love?
I don't know.
'Cause who's gonna build a castle for just anybody?
I know. I don't know, man.
Okay.
Nothing more than a memory of a man who once was, a man I once was. Elspeth made it back to her room. Kicking the door shut, she saw herself as a little girl poring over her aunt's copy of the old Book of Alders, fixed on the nightmare card's page, so certain she'd been that the creature in her mind was an embodiment of the card. But she failed to understand what was written a few pages prior, which was, "But it felt incomplete, my collection yet whole, and so, for the nightmare, I bartered my soul." Elspeth puts a shaking hand to her mouth and says aloud, "But that would mean I absorbed your soul when I touched the nightmare card, which makes you the Shepherd King." So, yes, everyone's right. He was the Shepherd King. The nightmare growls and says, "Finally, my darling Elspeth, we understand one another." If we hadn't before, I don't know. A voice wakes Elspeth from sleep. She's in her nightgown, dirty and damp on the flattened grass beneath her. In the distance stood the stone chamber surrounded by mist. This is later. This didn't just happen. It's not like she's standing there and she falls asleep. Remember, she ran away. She went to her room.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then she went
Fell
to
asleep,
bed.
but then all of
Now
a
she's
sudden,
waking up
yes,
outside.
yes.
Okay.
Get the timeline. Philip stared down at her. "Are you all right, Miss Spindle?" Elspeth says that she must have walked in her sleep. Philip offers to make her a cup of tea. So, sitting by Philip's hearth, they talk of the old stone chamber. Philip says that he walks there often. Elspeth says, "You seem to place a lot of value in old magic for a physician." Philip explains, "We willows have been physicians for hundreds of years." "The wand chooses the wizard, Mr. Potter." "Ages ago, we knew the mist was full of salt, full of magic, but we did not fear it. We venerated the spirit of the wood and the gifts she gave. Those who suffered the fever and the degeneration that followed were treated, not hunted." Elspeth asks what happened, and Philip continues, "There are no surviving records, but stories remain, a chain of events. To her own detriment, the spirit of the wood granted the Shepherd King magic so great, he created the Providence Cards. He shared them with his kingdom, and people stopped going to the woods to ask the spirit for magical gifts. Instead, they vied for cards, greedy for magic that would not degenerate." And Elspeth remembers her aunt telling her the story. The Shepherd King had bartered the Twin Alders card, not knowing he needed it to lift the mist. But Philip had more to say on the matter. "You asked what changed, Miss Spindle. Brutus Rowan, the first Rowan king. That's what changed. He took the old book and made it doctrine, twisting the words until they'd become weapons against anyone infected."
That sounds familiar.
Yep.
Religion.
Ba-dum-bum. Perhaps he feared magic, magic he could not control, or perhaps in a kingdom where balance is the only constant, he simply sought to cheat the scales. He stole the throne from an infected king, and now his lineage strives to kill anyone with enough magic to take it back. But Elspeth looks scared, so Philip tries to reassure her that it's something that happened so long ago that it has no bearing on today. Idiot.
You stupid bitch.
Jesus. Before Elspeth leaves, she mentions that she does not know her degeneration, and that scared her. Philip tries to offer words of comfort, but he wasn't very successful, as no two infections are ever the same.
Mm.
Elspeth waits until she's away from Philip before she interrogates the nightmare about causing her to sleepwalk, and the nightmare feigns innocence. She tells him he is a monster and asks why she's able to see his memories now. The nightmare says, "You already know. Deep down. You've always known." Elspeth puts it all together. She says, "You're becoming stronger. That's why I'm seeing your memories. I may not be getting weaker like Emery, but I'm fading. That's my degeneration, isn't it? It's my payment. Every time I ask for your help, you grow stronger, and I'm losing control."
So he's kind of taking her over.
Mm-hmm.
But is she gonna look like him if he takes her over?
No.
Oh. That'd be funny.
It would be, but no. I think just the eyes.
Yeah.
Um,
It's like his soul's taking over hers.
yes. But staying in the same body.
Yeah.
The nightmare mentions again that nothing is free, and Elspeth yells, "But I didn't realize that meant you were taking control of my body, my mind." The nightmare responds viciously, "I'm not taking anything, Elspeth Spendle.
Whoa.
I cannot take. I am capable only of what I am freely given. Remember that when you finally have the courage to admit it. In the end, I took nothing you had not already given me." When Elspeth, when she got back to the castle, destriers milled about.
What are they milling about?
Milling about. Elm surprised her and made her jump. He told her to hurry and change clothes. They were headed out. It was market day. Elm rudely says,
"It's coronation day.
It's coronation day." Elm, that's not what Elm says. He says, "Wear your colors. That is, if your father ever condescended to give you any."
And she often
Who asked you?
Drive by my humble dwelling.
In her
little phaeton and ponies.
Elspeth stared at herself. I'm sorry. Keep up. Elspeth stared at herself in the mirror. She wore a red dress with the spindle tree embroidered on her breast.
Just one breast?
One boobie? Yes, there's not two. I mean, she has two boobs, but not two spindle tree boobs.
Just one,
you know.
one tree right at the.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And then it just branches.
I'm sure it's pretty.
Okay. Anyway, so she's got that. The dress had been her mother's. Jesper waited at the foot of the stairs. Of course, she was in a tunic and pants. Walking over to the rest of the group, everyone stopped talking and stared. Oh my gracious.
Ew.
Hote Rowan walked over and offered Elspeth his uninjured hand.
Ew.
And said, "You must forgive my brutish manners. Yesterday was a trying day. I wonder, what is it you see in my cousin?" Sorry.
What the hell is that? It's not your business, Hope.
I know. She's Elspeth could tell that he thought merely of her as a toy to try and steal from Raven. So she answers, "He's very tall." At that point, Raven came over and took her hand, freeing it from Hote. Hote looked put out. He grabbed for her other arm, the injured one, and said, "You'll save me a turn on the square, won't you, Miss Spindle?" Unfortunately, he noticed a strain on her face and asked what happened to her wrist.
Fuck.
Luckily,
he can't be smart. He doesn't seem smart.
I know. Ione came over in that moment.
I was going to say, dude, you're engaged and your wife was there. I assume she was still there.
Yeah.
Your soon-to-be wife.
He doesn't care.
Yeah. Those princes.
Yep. Ione says to Hote, "Careful, darling. Elspeth and I went riding yesterday morning. She fell off a horse, poor dear. Isn't that right?"
Thank you, Ione.
Elspeth agrees, and Elm approaches and tells them to get a move on. As they're walking away, Elspeth asks Elm, "Do you think he recognized my injury?" And Elm says, "My brother's not half as clever as he thinks he is." Elspeth and Elm walk on. They were close to Spindle House, and that gave Elspeth an idea. And Elm must have read her mind because he says, "Keep walking. I know what you're doing, and now is not the time." Elspeth whines that her father wouldn't be home. And Elspeth says, "And you think what? That Eric's left the well card out on the table for us to nab? It's not the time. It's pageantry that keeps us looking like everyone else. Let's go." Elm led her away from her father's house.
I feel like if he's not home, they're right there. Let her slip in and grab it.
She don't know where it is.
Can't she see it?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean she knows where it is. She's still going to have to look for the light.
Look for the light.
Look for the light.
Okay.
When they stepped on...
Was that a thunder crack?
It was a thunder.
A whole thunder.
A whole thunder. When they stepped onto Market Street, the nightmare warned her that there were more than destriers out there in the service of the king. Jesper joined them, and Elm dipped out, saying he needed a drink. Wandering around, Elspeth is reminded of a time before the infection when her and Ione would run around would run around on market day. Elspeth felt a hand on her shoulder and turned to find Raven. She begins to explain to him why she had run off, but he interrupts her. He tells her that he had resisted Jesper's plans of courting her because of how he feels about her. He knew that it would be hard to continue to pretend who he was. He says, "It's not safe to draw too close to me. I'm a liar, Elspeth, a traitor, and someday there will be a reckoning. The highwayman always meets the hangman." Elspeth tells him that he is the reckoning.
What?
He's gonna bring the shit.
Oh, okay.
Eventually, Elspeth and Raven go their separate ways, and she finds herself next to Elm again. Elm tells her Raven is not skeptical of your infection, your magic. When he looks at you, he feels he knows you, wants to help you. You make him remember why he's done everything he's done and why he must continue doing it. But when I look at you, Spindle, I see something else. I see someone secretive, guarded. I see someone who hasn't been forthright with us. A woman who spent most of her life hiding in her uncle's house, quiet and secluded, can stand in combat against trained men at arms, can catch knives in midair and maim my brother without the aid of a black horse. And your eyes, black as ink. Only when the light is just right, I can see the yellow in them. The same yellow I saw 2 nights ago when you knocked your father to the ground.
He noticed.
Elm doesn't have anything to say. The nightmare tells her to let him out, but she tells him no. She asks him what she should tell Elm, and he suggests the truth. But Elspeth had no time to respond. Something bad's about to happen.
Oh, no.
She was knocked aside by 3 destriers, their weapons drawn. Elm asks them what's going on, and they tell him there was an infected child. He's been collected by Physician Orith and his parents arrested. High Prince Hote wants an example made of them. 5 more destriers tied the prisoner's hands, and a hush fell over the crowd. When the first lash of the whip fell on the man,
Why are they whipping them?
Because they're the parents of an infected child and they didn't turn him in.
Oh.
They broke the law. A scream shot through the crowd. When the whip cracked again, Elspeth couldn't handle it and doubled over. Elm put his hand on her elbow, and only when Hote addressed the crowd did Elm's face shift, eyes narrowing at his brother. Hote spoke, "This man and woman betrayed your trust." The whip lashed again. They did not report the infection. They kept their child hidden, allowing the infection to fester, putting all of Blunder at risk. The whip ripped again, and now they pay the ultimate price. Elspeth whispers to Elm, asking where the child was, but Elm just shook his head. It was obvious that no one in the crowd supported what Hote was doing, but they were too scared to try and stop it. Hote, using his scythe, ordered the man and woman to give him their charms. They did, and Hote continued, "The infection is a blight. It is a poison that seeps through the mist, fashioned by the spirit of the wood. Those who fail to report it commit treason. By the authority of the king, I, Hote Rowan, High Prince of Blunder, sentence you to death." Just then, a carriage rolled through the gates. Out of it came 2 men clad in white. Between them, a boy no older than 12. Elspeth asks Elm what they would do to the boy, and Elm says he'll be made to watch his parents disappear in the mist. Then he'll be taken to stone. If my father deems his magic without use, Elspeth finishes his sentence, he'll be murdered.
Really? So he's going to keep the ones that he can use?
Mhm.
Oh, that's sweet.
A third physician exits the carriage, Orith Willow. Elm jumped when he saw him and says, "Hote shouldn't be doing this, not in front of everyone." The physicians and the boy joined Hote. Orith followed the length of his white sleeve. He didn't follow it. He folded the length of his white sleeve back several inches, revealing a claw-like contraption with long, angry spikes reaching out from each of his pale fingers. The boy tried to move toward his parents, but Orith extended a spike to his throat, forcing him to remain still. A single drop of blood fell from the boy's neck, enough for Orith to sentence him to death. Hote raised his scythe over his head, tapped it 3 times, and sent the prisoners into the mist. The woman stepped forward with a scream, and the man followed. The hiss of the nightmare came in Elspeth's head. What he's about to say is my favorite quote in this entire book.
Okay. Are we going to post it on our quotes?
No.
Oh. Okay.
I did different ones.
Fine.
I don't want to ruin it.
Okay.
When the shadows grow long, when our names turn to dust, what we love, what we hated will spoil to rust. All will be forgotten, save one truth unshaken. What did you do when the children were taken?
I like that.
So good.
I
Bravo,
like
Rachel.
that one.
It's good. What is happening? Weather.
Your phone is going crazy.
I get it. We're in a severe thunderstorm warning.
47 times.
Yeah, it's like literally every 3 minutes.
It kept changing when the tornado was going off. You're in a tornado warning. You're in a thunderstorm warning.
Like, I got it. We're in all of it.
Thank you.
All of the above. Okay. Anyway, yeah. Brilliant quote.
I like
Love
that.
it. Elspeth turns back to Elm and tells him that they had to do something. Elm says that they couldn't risk Orith seeing her. Elspeth asks for Elm's cloak. They also had masks on. Apparently you wear masks on market day, like fun ones.
Oh, like masquerade-y kind of?
Yeah. And so she took his cloak and his mask so that she wouldn't be recognizable, even though she's in her dress.
Yeah.
I don't know. Excuse me.
Put the hood up. That's not sus.
Yeah, not at all. It's fine. Elm searched the crowd for Raven, and Elspeth says, "You don't need him. That boy is innocent, just like Emery. You're the strongest magic user I've ever seen. You have a scythe. You must do something." With a curse, Elm reached into his pocket for the scythe. An audible gasp rippled through the crowd. The prisoners stopped walking. Elm slipped away, telling Elspeth to stay out of sight and not to do anything stupid. Hote yells for Elm to withdraw his scythe, but Elm doesn't. The brothers stand off while Elspeth slinks closer to the boy. Raven and Jesper show up, and Raven shouts some commands. Almost all the destriers rally behind Raven, but a few back Hote. The crowd erupts into pandemonium, and a woman collides with Elspeth's broken wrist, and she calls on the nightmare for help. The nightmare / Elspeth fights against the physicians, eventually freeing the boy. Elspeth tells him to come with her. The two run, but when Elspeth looks back, she sees a physician and a destrier, Linden, hot on their tail. Elspeth and the boy quickly enter the mist. They hurry through the meadow. Elspeth's eyes burned with tears, but when she rubbed them, the world around her disappeared. She was no longer in the meadow. She was somewhere full of long, flickering shadows, a strange orange light reflecting on her golden armor. Flames licked the sky behind them, the walls of an enormous castle engulfed in an inferno. The boy was still behind her, only now he wasn't alone. More children hurried with them, their frightened faces illuminated by the flames. The boy yelled, "Miss!" and Elspeth was brought back to reality. The nightmare asks if she can hear the man and woman's voices deep in the mist. She could, but she could also hear the shouting of Linden and Orith coming after them. The nightmare tells her that she'll never outrun them, not with the boy. So Elspeth looks at the child and gives him her charm. She says, "Take this to your parents. They'll have to share it, but it should wake them. The spirit does not harm people like us. Go." And the boy went. The nightmare hisses, and Elspeth turns around in time to dodge a blow from Linden's sword. She sprang on him, seeing the fear in his eyes, but not caring, the nightmare's wrath enveloping her. Elspeth got Linden pinned to the ground. She leaned over him, hand poised like a claw. For a moment, Elspeth's mind clouded, and she forgot where she was, why she'd come. Screams brought her back, and she yelled for the nightmares to stop, but it was too late. Linden lay on the ground, his hands held up to his neck, blood oozing through his fingers. Elspeth asks the nightmare what he'd done, but he doesn't answer. She runs and collides with another destrier, but this time it was Raven. He calms her down. She tells him she doesn't know what happened, and he mentions that her eyes are yellow. Raven reaches for her, but then recoils. Elspeth's hands were curled like claws. Her fingers, long and pale, were covered in blood.
Oh, that's what Yui said. Oh.
That's the end.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
It was full of things.
That was so much stuff.
It was action-packed.
Action-packed. Okay. So, the little boy went to find his parents in the mist.
Mm-hmm.
What's gonna happen between Elm and Hote? That's gonna cause some upheaval in the
And the
community.
hierarchy. It doesn't cause any more than a normal fight would.
Okay. I didn't know if he by doing that was gonna start some kind of.
I mean, it starts a little bit of shit because there's certain people who backed Hote and there's certain people who backed Raven, but it's really more them rather than Elm using his scythe.
Yeah.
That people are
Okay.
gossiping about.
Okay. Well, I like it.
Okay.
We're having some issues, so let's go ahead and
give it a call. Give it a call. Give it a call. Call.
God.
Bye.
Love you.